Hello and welcome to Gaia GPS. This is where we come and pull cards for the Astro week ahead. I am Mimi. I'm here with Nicole.
Hi.
And we are building this week into Eclipse, a solar eclipse coming on Sunday. And the build is going to be quite interesting. Eclipse corridor is always interesting. You know, we're working through the downloads from the first eclipse. Meanwhile, this other eclipse is, building. It's kind of like you just had a big wave, but then, this other big wave is still building and going to come on top of the big wave that you just had. So that's kind of the eclipse energy. On top of that, we have the tightening of that cardinal T-square energy. We have some major players being instigated. That's the word we're going to use, instigated. And the moon shifting into Capricorn later tonight is going to be an instigator of these energies. So I've got some interesting cards. I'm using some interesting decks for this, but I'm going to start with this. I'm going to start with the mind card. The mind energy is really heavy right now. Pisces is interesting. We're Sun in Pisces, building to this eclipse in Pisces. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is the energy of illusion. So, among other things, illusion, spirituality. But sometimes we can get so caught up with trying to figure out these things that are not figure-outable from this place. And I think that's where some of this over-mental compartmentalization, I can't even say the word, compartmentalization is coming through in this energy. You cannot understand this energy from the old constructs of the mind, because what your mind is holding right now is old constructs from the old paradigm, from the way things have been, that you were taught in school. And the universe is like, rebirth. This is some new energy coming through. This is new structure. Capricorn is all about structure. This is a new structure. We have Pluto in Capricorn shifting the structure. This week, we are going to have Mars squaring Pluto, working with those old structures, changing those up, taking us back into what is true from ourselves, rebirthing the energy, and then integrating. This is huge. Nikki and I just spent like 2 hours almost before actually recording this, talking about the feminine energy, the uprising of the feminine energy, the truth of the feminine. And here I have this card, integration. It is time to integrate feminine energy into the structure of things. One of the things that we talked about was responsibility, which is how I like to look at Capricorn energy. What is your response? How are you able to respond to the energy that's showing up instead of reactability? So are you in response in a way that's balanced between your yin and your yang energies? Are you honoring the feminine energy as you are responding, or are you in reaction mode? So this energy is saying, hey, get out of your head, get out of the shoulds of what you think you should be doing. Get into, as this planet ascends, as this planet does its work, how do you want to rebirth this planet? What do you want the structure to be? Do you want it to be this old spitting camel? Do you want it to be this grumpy lion? Or do you want to bring back the innocence? Can you integrate the innocence of who you are into this energy? The universe thinks that you can. I have, pulling Mary Magdalene cards, I have love. Tuning into the wisdom of your heart, the wisdom of love, is a major component. There's the flashing lights. A major component in moving forward in this energy. We've got to get out of this old way of doing things, that old structure. So tune into your responsibility as we move into this eclipse. As these tensions come up, as we're pushed and pulled through the riptides of the universe and what's going on and all that, respond with love. What would love do? How does love integrate itself in and through this energy? Now I've also got, and I love this, I've also got from the goddesses, because they're feeling really strong feminine energy. So Magdalene and goddesses, I have Ishtar, boundaries. And it says, love yourself enough to say no to others' demands on your time and energy. This is also a big part of the new construct of things. Learning to say no and not go with the tide. It's not about flowing with everybody else and being a sheep. This is about flowing, dancing to your own personal beat. That was rhyming. I like when I rhyme. Not on purpose. So this is where you have to put up those boundaries and be like, hey, this thing that you're doing, that you are impassioned about, that you're wanting to pull me into, that's not right for me. That's not how I move. This is how we begin to dance the own dance. This is when you're tuning to your own heart. This is when you are in responsibility, when you're honoring what is true to you. So honor your yeses and honor your nos and realize that they are feeding into your personal integration of your soul energy and into the rebirth of things, which is happening this week. Nicole?
Yeah. So I want to talk about the next. Am I getting a little feedback?
I'll mute you.
Okay. See if that helps. Yeah, better. Okay, so I'm going to go into the next 3 days because as Capricorn, as the moon shifts in the Capricorn, Mimi mentioned that it's going to tighten some cardinal energies. And she mentioned before we got on that Wednesday might be a rough day too. So this isn't just for tonight. This is going to be until Wednesday, until we shift that moon again. So what I'm getting is the intensity card. So you're going to start feeling a bit of a squeeze in yourself. You're going to start feeling a sense of intensity within you. This might be a physical intensity. It might be anger. It might be emotion. You might feel suppressed. There's an underlying energy of suppression. So it may be, so look at how this squeeze is happening, right? So here's all this dark energy, and behind it is everything cracking apart. The red, the orange, and the yellow. The red is root. Then we have this creative sexual energy, and then willpower. So these are the 3 lower chakras. This is also, if you look at the colors, it looks like a flame. It looks like a bit of that aggressive energy that's going to pop. And with Capricorn energy, I'm not too surprised if we feel that suppression and needing that pop of energy. And I really love these 2 cards together, the intensity, and then behind, it's like this card is behind it, pushing this forward. And as we go through this, what's going to happen is what Mimi said is the construct of the mind. So you can't hold on to that construct of the mind anymore. Or I call it the waffle brain or the labeling. Sometimes we get like, this is what a relationship should look like. But if it's not working anymore, it has to pop. It has to break. The way that, the cards I have here is it looks like it has to do with some money stuff. So an old construct of the way that you had to be to make money. Like, this is the way. I have to get a 9 to 5. I have to be stable. Instead of connecting to prosperity. And prosperity is not just the energy of money. Prosperity is the energy of fulfillment of all 4 layers or levels. The spiritual level being fulfilled and fulfilled emotionally, being fulfilled mentally, and being fulfilled financially or physically stable. So we have to let go of this old construct. Now, our body's going to feel this. And I've been talking on my daily guidances about this, is we might feel a tightness in the heart. Some people have been messaging me of like, you talked about panic attacks. Oh my God, I had my first one on Sunday. And I'm like, So if it comes through as anxiety because Mimi had that mind energy, that you're going to also feel the anxiety right in the chest area. This is where we catch our lungs, right? So anxiety comes from when there's a stifled feeling in the chest, the heart, the lungs, the throat. So if you get a panic attack, if you get that, don't hold on. This needs to pop. This needs to break. I don't have the breakthrough card yet, but I have a feeling that I will have it sometime today. I have the Fool card. So in the future, this is to get us to a new beginning. This is to get us away from the past, the old constructs of the mind, the old constructs on the way that we took action and the reason the reason behind why we took action, if that makes sense. Because we always have a reason of why we take action. We always have a reason. It might be coming out of fear. We're taking action because we're fearful of lack, or we're fearful of lack of a relationship or whatever, or we are in faith. So what decision are you going to make? Are you going to make your decisions out of fear, or are you going to make your decisions out of faith? And this is the Fool card. The Fool does not make decisions based off of fear, as you can tell, because he's about to jump off a cliff. But he has a sense of faith. Now, you don't have to have blind faith, but there is a certain sense of innocence in this, where in the card in the Osho deck, it says, let people hurt you 1,000 times. The Fool will allow that to happen because at the end of the day, that's a shedding of skin and you stay in that innocence, right? So beyond that, so I have this traveling card. This traveling card just means be at one with the journey. Don't take it as a destination. We are in the middle of a journey yet. So this isn't the end. This is just the beginning, says the Fool. And then I have the inner voice card. This inner voice card is also a very feminine card. Mimi was talking a lot about the divine feminine. This is the High Priestess, but this is also, instead of making the decisions based on your external world and reacting, like she said, the reactability, instead of reacting, it's going in and listening to the inner voice. So it's a change of sight direction. Usually we get the external information and it comes in, and then we react from there, and that's how we take action, and it goes like this. This is more like we go in to get the information, and then we react, and we change our action. We change our way of doing things from the inside out. So you're going in before you go out. You check in before you go out. You go in before you say that thing you want to say to somebody, and make sure that it's in alignment. Instead of reacting, right? How can we shift this? So we're having to shift the trajectory of the way we react. Are we pulling in the information, or are we going to go within to get the information and then change our reality in that way? We're shifting. We're shifting the way we're doing things. Shifting. And so here's this is interesting. So on the maps card, we got the coming apart. So the miser card, we're coming apart. And then in the return of spirit, I have union. So we're coming apart to put ourselves back together. So if you're feeling like you're breaking apart, don't freak out. New union will happen between yourself. And as you break apart to come back together, what will happen is you might see this in your relationships too. You might have like a break of a relationship for it to come back together. I had to do that with my own husband in 2007 to 2009, where we had to break apart to come back together, to heal the paradigm, to heal ourselves so we can come back so we were on the same frequency or wavelength. So this might be happening within yourself, where you're coming apart to come back into better harmony and union and integration, like we said, with yourself. So if it feels like you're literally, like your chest is being ripped open from its rib cage, I know that sounds intense. Don't freak out. It's good. As you're cracking open, and then you will come back to center. So it's this like, it's like a heartbeat. It's like, it's like the breath, but it's like a coming apart to come back together. Don't freak out. This is going to be intense for a couple days up until that eclipse, and it probably even further away. I think it's going to the next eclipses, really. I mean, it's going to be an interesting year. It just is what it is. All right, Beams.
It is going to be interesting. And that's what this, I feel like these cardinal energies are doing. That's, they are doing this expansion, come together. And that's, I think It's the nature of giving birth. It's the nature of orgasm. It's the nature of the universe. This is the nature of all these things where it's like expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. This is how we grow. And so it's not always comfortable, but but it is very, very true. And
I like the contraction. Well, everything to me, like I said before, is pregnancy at the moment. But it's a contraction. Like you have to go through those to give that birth to yourself. And that's exactly what we're going through. You are giving, you're like going through labor to your new self. And it, you know, how long is your labor going to be? It just depends. If you relax, you breathe, you get into the rhythm of yourself. Don't worry about if that woman next to you and the other one is like, she's ready to give birth. Oh my God. Keep breathing. Stay in your own story. You'll birth when you're ready. You can't force a flower to blossom.
Let's just speak of birth. For Moon moving into Aquarius, it's moving into Aquarius on Thursday, and here I have Mother Mary. And like as you know, I'm sitting here looking at the cards and listening to what you're saying, all I keep hearing, and with this card, you know, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. You've got to let yourself breathe, let yourself be in this. And that's the overall feeling that I have with these cards for the Moon in Aquarius. Now, this Moon in Aquarius is going to be the dark of the moon. This Moon in Aquarius is taking us, you know, up to the eclipse, basically. The Moon in Aquarius is helping us finish Mercury in Aquarius. Mercury is going to be finishing those last couple days. So Mercury in Aquarius is going to be stimulating the synapses of the mind energy strong. And it's also going to be building us into a tightening between Mars and Uranus. So Mars and Uranus are going to conjunct each other with that eclipse on Sunday. What was I going to say? So first we have that Mars-Pluto thing with the Moon in Capricorn. Now we have this Aquarius. This Aquarius is our time to like let it go, let it flow. I also have the Fool card in reverse. So it's like, here's this new path. We're getting, you know, it's like we're in prep for the path. You know, it's like before you go on a road trip, you go to the store, you get your snacks, you get gas. Like that's the kind of feeling I get with this Moon in Aquarius. Get your snacks, get the gas, drink water, you know, rest up, take it easy, you know, talk about what you want to do on your trip, share the visions that you have, because that's ultimately what Aquarius is. Get your vibration set for this eclipse this weekend. This eclipse is a solar eclipse. That's a new moon. So it gives this extra punch to this new moon. With new moons, we plant seeds. We plant seeds of intention. So what seeds are you planting? What kind of fruit do you want to grow? What kind of light do you want to glow with? This is what Aquarius is setting us up for, this Moon in Aquarius. Now, what's interesting is the Mother Mary card actually says, dearest one, I ask you to surrender your fear and anxiety that you hold for a loved one's well-being. Trust and all will turn out for the highest good of all concerned. This current situation is simply part of your loved one's life experience and learning. So Mother Mary is saying, let it be, it's all good. I've got Maeve, cycles and rhythms. Honor the cycles and rhythms of your body, energy levels and emotions. And I pulled from Keepers of the Light as well, and this Saint Germain, karma releasing. Move beyond the drama, create your own path, make room for good energy. So what I'm getting between all of these cards is, you know, what's going on in the world right now? It's pretty crazy. And, you know, on one hand, like, you know, the Sagittarius in me is like, it's good, we should be involved. Like, let's look and see what's happening. And then, I don't know what part of me, the higher self part of me that's like, get out of your curiosity. That's not going to help you at this time. And keep tuning in, you know, this coming in to react, like Nikki said, to be responsible, to be responsive. Come inside, because you know you have the answers in here with how you're meant to show up. This isn't about sticking your nose into everybody's karma unfolding. There's a cycle and there's a rhythm going on. Mother Mary's got this. Let it be. Care for yourself. What is your vision? What is your vibration? What is the light that you want to carry in and through this? I've got the Fighting card. If you find yourself going outside of yourself, you're probably going to be finding this energy. And this energy, this Fighting card, this is a battle of wits. This is not a productive battle. This is not a battle getting you anywhere. It's like, I'm smarter than you and I can pee farther than you too. Like, that's the kind of energy that's going to come up. Yeah, Nikki's totally like cracking up over there. But that's like the energy. It's a battle of which, and it's like, whose thing is bigger than the others? It's not where we want to go. This is not the light that we're bringing on. I'm getting flashing lights here. The universe is agreeing with me. This is not the energy that we want to carry on into this new structure, into this new paradigm. Light up yourself. You are a lightning bug. You are a lighthouse. You are responsible for your vibration alone. Woo! Thank you, universe. So get into that vibration. Aquarius is vibration. Mercury finishing up in Aquarius during this time. Moon in Aquarius at this time. Focus on your vibration. Everything else, let it be. From your vibration, from inside yourself, this is where you have the most effect and the most power in and of the world. But I'm fun. Nicole?
I agree. I mean, it's funny because Aquarius is how, you know, how we all fit, but I have the we are the world underneath all of it in reverse. So when I get this, a lot of times, you know, and you've heard me say it, I love this quote. It's like, we are one and we are one. So how we are one as an individual and we are one as we're all connected, right? So Mimi's completely right going into this. It's like, what I'm getting, first I'll start with this. I have the balancing act. And this is the number 11, 1 and 1, right? 1 and 1. We are one and we are one. The balancing act is saying, come into balance within yourself, and then you will find balance in your world. Come into balance with yourself, and we will come into balance with the world. Not trying to take on other people's stuff, not trying to take on the collective or the world or the news or the president or this or the other party or whatever that is. We have to let that go for a moment. Even if that's not your highest excitement, you don't want to hear that. We have to let it go as we build to the eclipse. Because if you are giving your power and energy away to those things, it's a distraction and you're not focusing on yourself. And yourself is more important than what's going on, because you have more power to change this than you have to change that at the moment. And you want to change this, because you always have a vote to where this world, this trajectory of the planet is going. So if you're putting it into the fighting, then you're going to receive more fighting, and that's not helping anything. But if you can find your own peace and awareness and confidence within yourself, that's the stability that you start anchoring onto the planet. We need more stability, balance. We need more stability than fighting. We need more stability than we need craziness. There's enough craziness. Are you being part of the solution, or are you feeding the monster? So you have to ask yourself, and I'm not saying that in judgment, and I'm not saying that in harshness. I'm saying that to be like really deeply honest with yourself. What wolf am I feeding? Am I feeding the crazy? Am I feeding chaos, or am I feeding sweet stability, real stability? Not this BS stability that is an illusion, but the real stability, the beyond illusion stability, which is the connection and the alignment with spirit, the connection and the alignment with the self. And so this is coming out of the conditioned behavior of the sheep. Do not get tempted by the sheep mentality of just ranting on Facebook. Where are you the lion? Where can you find the power in this? Where can you find your own strength and courage in this? The growth in this is more important. Your own inner growth is more important than being right. I promise you, because we don't really know what's right now. I know that sounds crazy, but we don't. So we got to come out of the shadow. Remember who you are. You are a little Buddha. You are, and there's a lot of earth angels here listening to us. Remember who you are. Don't feed in the silly lower levels of things. Sit in the angelic realm of who you really are. And you might find you come out of the cage of this craziness and free yourself. And as you free yourself, here's the other ones that are free, these other little doves that are free out here. So you will connect to more people who are free and have this lightness, these other earth angels. And then you can help find where people are in cages and start opening up cages, because that is more important. We don't, sometimes the constructs of the news will keep us in that cage of fear. The construct of what's going on right now will keep you in that cage. How can you find your own release? How can you find the lock on the cage where the cage is not locked? You have to just pull the lever. And within that, what you will find is your own confidence, your own self-confidence, your own voice, what needs to be actually said and not fought or screamed. Go within and find it that way, so you can be more of a cage opener than throwing blankets over cages. We don't need more darkness. We need more freedom. So if you really want freedom, we have to find the freedom here. Nelson Mandela was locked in prison, and that's where he found his freedom. He didn't get locked in victim, but he found his own empowerment. And after he was done with his cage experience, he showed others how to free themselves. And this is the energy that we have to anchor into. Okay.
Yes, yes. And I love Call on Angels. I grabbed my Danielle Laporte cards, and I looked through them just right when we got started, and this is the one I pulled up, was Beckon Angels. And so as Nikki's saying, call on the angels, beckon angels. And with it I have for this next transit, which is Mercury shifting into Pisces and the moon shifting into Pisces on Saturday, the day before the eclipse. I've also got one of our angels, Archangel Michael, trusting heaven. And in the book it says, call on Archangel Michael and his legions of angels to support you in this energy. And on the card it says, you are safe. Angels stand close. Surrender your concerns and allow a miracle to occur. Allow the miracle of you recognizing yourself as the angel self to come forward. So weird. We didn't do one of these last weeks, but I'm like, wow, I feel like we did. But 2 weeks ago, when we did GPS, Nikki told that story about seeing the light in everybody, seeing the angelic self of everybody. So if you want a reminder, go back and check that out. I wish I could tell you what time it was in the thing, but anyways, this is important for this Pisces energy as Mercury and the moon shift into Pisces. Now I want to say on Saturday before the shift, which is in the afternoon, it's like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's kind of like 1, 2, we're going to have the moon at 29 degrees and we're going to have Mercury at 29 degrees. 29 degrees is that tested degree. Mercury in Aquarius, your mind will be feeding your vibrations. Do not get caught in fear. Fear is where they want us. They want us in fear. Do you have fear?
I am fearless.
Fearless, good. Yes.
When you said don't get caught in fear, I went, whoop, and I pulled fearless. I was like,
I love that. I love it. Fearless, be fearless, because fear is where we are giving over our power. There's no power in, fear is a thing. We all have fear. Like, it's not letting the fear stop you. It's what Nikki said. Was it your guidance today? Was it today about being encouraged? Yeah, and not in fear. Like, yeah. Check out Nikki's guidance for today.
Well, it's the same card, so I'm going to go back into it in a minute.
Perfect. Okay, good. But like, here's the thing. Look at these cards that I have. So I have guidance in reverse. Here we have this angel, and I have projection. This is who you're not listening to. You're not listening to your higher guidance. You are listening to the projections of the media, the projections of people who are in fear. You are not tuning into that which can help you go higher. The power of your mind. It is a powerful thing. If you find yourself getting into the projections, getting into this place where you're confused, this is also a card of being confused, in illusion. We're in Pisces. It's almost the eclipse. It's the dark of the moon. Mercury shifting signs. You really may be feeling confused. And when you get confused, it's like everything's cloudy and fuzzy. I can't even get the word. It's foggy.
buggy. It's really buggy.
Totally buggy. Anyways, so it's that energy. It's hard to get a grip on what's real and what's not real. This is when tune in here, fall in here, ask your angels for guidance. You're not looking to where you need to look for this guidance. So ask your angels for guidance. And what I love even more is from the Magdalene deck, I have the Universal Christ. Look at that energy lighting up. And it says this emptiness or the fugginess that you're currently feeling is helping you reconnect to aspects of your nature that you have kept repressed. Let go of the distractions that surround you at present and bring your awareness within. It is the empty space of your solitude where you will find the hidden treasure. This is a period of profound self-discovery. You need only listen to the whispers inside your heart. I do believe often that our higher self, our angels, those things do speak from this deep place within ourselves. Ask yourself what it is you truly want from life. And I would say also, what do you really want to offer to life? And remember, when it comes to matters of the heart, there's no right or wrong choice. So connect to the inner guidance within. Connect to your angels. Do not get stuck in these projections, in the fugginess. Call on Archangel Michael. Ask if Archangel Michael, Nikki can go into this, to, cut these cords that are bringing you into this place of projection. Cut your cords to reliance on others for the truth, because everything's out there slinging snowballs at each other, like, you're not telling the truth, I'm a Sagittarius. I love the truth. I have a word for truth tattooed on my back. I like the truth so much. And it's really hard sometimes to tell the truth because there's so many versions of the truth with pieces of the truth out there. Truth comes from within. It's not going to be coming from out there. You're going to be getting a lot of projections. You're going to get a lot of victim truths out there from out there. It's not where you're going to come into the clarity that we need to help build this new paradigm or come into this new paradigm. So tune into yourself. And from the guidances, just to finish up, Pele, divine passion, be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. That's the line in here. Be honest with yourself. This isn't about all the mistruths and the projections out there. Are you being honest with yourself in this? Find that place first. We can't find honesty out there if we're not being honest with ourselves. So her next thing is, what's your heart's true desire? But I think, be honest with yourself. Are you being honest with yourself? It's a good thing to ask yourself in this fugginess. Nicole?
The card also talks about the rhythm of your heart. And if we get quiet, we can hear our own rhythm of the heart that's connected with the heart of the mother. The volcano again, right? So there was a lot of, the first thing that I did, there was that volcanic energy. If you can hear the rhythm of your heart and it's connected to the rhythm of the earth or the rhythm of the mother, that is where the seed of truth really is, because we are one, we are one. We are one with ourselves and we are one with them. What is your heart's true desire is listening to the rhythm of your heart. Listen to your own rhythm. Listen to the rhythm of her and what she is guiding you forth to do. Because what you may be guided to do might break all the rules. And it might be completely scary. And it might be terrifying. You might be called to talk about sexuality. You might be called to leave your lover. You might be called to, God knows what you're being called to. But what you're being called might question all the rules of society. But if you are centered in listening to the rhythm of your own heart, you will be guided forth into what needs to be cracked open to give others a perspective and crack the old paradigm of the patriarch. And the patriarch's not bad, because if you really connect to the true patriarch, that universal Christ energy, then the heart is awakened there. But right now, the dynamic on the planet, the patriarch is suppressing. So that is why we have to go within and find the rhythm in a deeper place. And so when I'm getting from these energies, and I want to show you the cards in a certain sequence because they're kind of telling a story. We'll go back into the Fearless card. This is the card that I picked in my daily guidance today. But if you look at this card, they look like dark angel wings, don't they? So through any fear, let's talk a little bit about inner demons. Let's talk about fear. So through any darkness that we go through, we can see fear as a demon. We can see wounds as a demon. We could see anything that is scary to us, that fear, as a demon. But if we see that as a demon, and we use that old paradigm of good and evil and all of that stuff, if you feed the demon, it grows. But if we stay neutral, what happens? We stay neutral, we stay inside of our hearts, we stay in love, we stay in neutrality. What happens is you give the opportunity for a healing to happen. Where a demon is not what it actually seems to be. A demon a lot of times is ignorance, complete ignorance. Are we seeing a lot of ignorance on the planet, you guys? I know I am. So if you stay in your power, you stay in your rhythm, you stay in your heartbeat, and you allow your heart to beat as you see the atrocity in the world without getting in the head and going into that guilt, nitpicky, over criticism, thinking everything is what the mind wants to think it is. But you stay in the heart, or you stay in neutrality. What happens is there's a space, there's room that grows, it opens. And something that happened to me many years ago with my husband, he was going through a really hard time. He was going through a lot of self-berating, just really horrible energy. And I heard in my ear, he's perfect where he is. Don't try to change him. I walked into my room and I watched him, and I saw him head in his hands, and he was freaking out. And I just see him in his dark cave, and he's just where the door was, there was this white angel that came into the doorway, and his wings went as big as the room, huge. In the dark corner of my room, this like gnarled figure comes out, and he's all like, and I was like, whoa, what the heck is that? But I didn't go into fear. I went in neutrality. I just watched because I heard that angel say, everything is exactly the way it is. And I stayed there, and I was like, he's exactly where he needs to be. It comes out of the shadow, and all of a sudden it says, do you really want to see who I am? And he goes like this, and he turns into as big of an angel as that white one standing at the doorframe. And around us, we're in the middle of the room. Around us, they hold hands and they bow to each other, the yin and the yang. So we need to see the truth. And it's going to take a lot of courage to see that, because we have to stay with the fear, because the fear is the opportunity. It's the doorway. This is a lot of information, you guys, but they're telling me I'm allowed to tell you this. It's the doorway. Don't try to push it away. You're only going to give yourself a headache. Stay with it. Find your heart. Find your center. Find your neutrality. And see if something will break open. See if a spark arises. And the angel can grow from the fear. Because that's when we turn the darkness and we evolve it into beauty. We evolve it into our own healing. And that's when we take all of our inner wounds and the collective wounds, and it evolves and it grows. And it turns into a divine experience, not just darkness. That's when we have the rebirth. That's when it comes from the darkness to the light. And it's born through the innocence. And that is when we will see beyond the illusion of what our experience has taken us through. That each experience that we've been through, even the hardest, darkest times, can break us free from the illusion and into our own divine spark. That's where you have to sit. It's a lot to ask, but you can feel it if you can connect to it. Okay.
Awesome.
I'm like, I don't know where we're going with this. They're like, tell the story of the angel. I'm like, okay.
No, I love it. It's all angels. So much angel energy right now. It's so perfect. Like
what that experience gave me a very different viewpoint of what darkness was, of what evil was. I didn't see it anymore as good or evil. I saw ignorance that needed to be healed. I saw ignorance. I saw darkness. I saw these wounds that needed to be tended to, that needed more love, not guilt, not suppression, not berating, not punishment, but that we needed to stay present, stay in our hearts with our awareness, and that things can grow, things can evolve, things can heal and open instead of being, you know, like us being or ripping ourselves apart or ripping other people or being caught in fear. There's always another way. And so what I found is that when we have that judgment of another person, it doesn't help them. We keep them stuck and suppressed in that. If we keep that judgment, it's their own cage, right? So we're mirroring, we're projecting on their cage, and then it becomes heavier. But if we could stay in that and remember that they are just that spark of the divine, and they always have the ability to walk out of that suppression, then we give them a great service, because then we're lighting candles in a darkness so they can come and find themselves.
I just want to ask you really quickly, what is your opinion, turning into a Gaia perspective for a split second, what is your opinion on mirroring? Because my belief, I'm hearing myself, my belief is when we resonate with something, so when we see something in another that we are judging, that there's some kind of resonance going on, or else I don't think that it's like friendship. Like, you know, when you and I met, I was like, her. I didn't know you. I didn't know your chart. I knew nothing about you. I was just like, her. There was this resonance. But I think it's the same thing when there's something that you don't like. It's not necessarily a happy resonance, and it's not necessarily an exact mirror, but there's some kind of energy. And I really feel like that's where so much healing can be done too, is in like, okay, where is this mirror? You know, where is this reflection? But some people are like, no, that's not how it works. But over and over, I see like there's some kind of tie. There is a tie that binds when you have that energy. So if you're like feeling that, you know, energy against somebody, I just noticed that one of my lights is out. So the Virgo in me. The light went out. But what do you feel about that? Because some people are really against that and say that it's used. I've heard some people say, you know, this is how we use it to, you know, say that these people, you know, like that. I don't have the wording because this is not what I feel, but basically that it's an old paradigm trick that, you know, old teachers would use to keep their students in like, I'm not bad, you're bad just like me kind of thing. And I think that it can be used in that way, but what do you think? That's enough for me. What do you think?
Well, I gotta rein in my Gemini here because I have all the perspectives, and because I've dealt with it. I've dealt with the spiritual version of you're a rubber, I am glue. You're just projecting onto me. Bull crap, you know. And usually men do that more than women, but I've had that in both ways, especially like really spiritual men where they don't want to take responsibility for anything, so they're like, no, you're projecting onto me, and I'm like, whatever. All right, you can't take responsibility for where you're showing up on this, and it's only me. Okay, good for you. And then there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go, because then there's no flow. There's no breath. There's no life there. Yes, I think mirrors are a very interesting thing. Being a Gemini rising, I think that mirrors are very helpful to see that, but it's also where we're at. What I see, so what I've had to find in my own self is a lot of my students, especially being a teacher, you get a lot of mirrors and you've become a lot of different archetypes for many different people. A lot of times I become their mom. I've become mother. I have a lot of Amma energy, and I have a lot of people who don't get unconditional love from their mother, and I had a lot of unconditional love from my mother. So that's something I know how to give to people. And so as a mirror, I also had this thing ever since I was a little girl that I can pull up people's insecurity, which was really weird. If they weren't ready to deal with it, then it became my fault. And then I used to buy into the paradigm, so they would mirror all this stuff to me, and I'm like, you know, I've had this happen in the last few years, or I'd go to Mimi and be like, what am I doing? How am I, like, what am I doing? And I will go into my victim and go, why is this happening to me? I didn't do anything to her. But what I realized is that this gift of mirroring to other people, and if we can see how people project onto us, how it's more of a gift than it is a curse. So if you are mirroring something to somebody, even if it's something bad, if you take responsibility for the dark place and you find that healing within yourself, but allow yourself to be still as they project, because we all are little projector screens, right? So our consciousness, our eyes are like movies, like a movie projector, and we're all each other's screens. So they'll never get the real version of you. Nobody even will. Your mother, your lover, they will never really know the inner workings of you, and you will never know them, because until we can get out of the confines of the individuality. But I feel like as you project, we learn so much from each other. But if you can stay in, the way to not take other people's projections on you personally is stay clean with your screen, take responsibility for what you can, and then through that, be that screen for somebody else. And if they're projecting onto you and you've checked in 1,000 times like I do, because I'm a Virgo, and realize that maybe this isn't my shit, and maybe it is the rubber I'm glue. No, but it's not rubber I'm glue. I've brought this in for me so I can learn what I radiate for others. Because we have essences. We trigger people. Hallelujah. They trigger. Have you ever met somebody that you're like, as soon as you meet them, you're like, ugh, you know, it's like, can't stand them, and I don't know why. And we can stay present with that and get deeper into what they're projecting, or what we're projecting onto them, or what we're pulling the resonance from. Because sometimes when that happens, I can feel somebody's desperation. And when somebody's in a frequency of desperation, they will pull anyone underwater with them. That's when I have to pull myself back and go, I hold my ground and I say, I honor their experience, but that is not the chaos I want to bring into my world. So I bring a boundary. So I don't know if that answers your question. What I get is you take each person for what they are. If you have to allow yourself, because some people, it's like you have to take responsibility of maybe that's what they're reflecting onto you too. Like you're reflecting onto them something you're judging about yourself.
Right.
And I hear that a lot, but there's so many. Oh my God, I can only tell you there's so many different freaking layers of that. There's so many layers. Sometimes you're just picking up. Like sometimes I go, well, is it mine? And then I want to take responsibility. And then they're like, no, it's just theirs. Stop.
Well, I think in that case, like watching you go through what you went through with the I'm rubber, you're glue, that was a lesson in empowerment for you, you know? And so that was the resonance, was there was power yet unclaimed by you. And so here it was, here is the situation. So there's always this, that was the resonance, was that power thing, you know? And so, and then you were like, whoop, oh, this thing's gone. You know, like
as soon as I set the boundary of like, I can't work with you anymore because da 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 da, then I had to rise as a peer instead of a student. So yeah, that one. But I know you guys don't really understand. She knows the inner workings of it. But what I'm saying is take every moment and every situation in your own way and see what that mirror is reflecting and what you're having to do. Because sometimes you have to find your own empowerment. Sometimes you have to take responsibility. Sometimes you have to, you know, so
not my circus, not my monkeys.
Not my circus, not my monkeys, not my responsibility, and none of my business. Mm-hmm. Right? Because sometimes don't we do that? We want to get in somebody's business. And sometimes it's just not your business.
Agreed. Perfect. That was a segue, but it felt important, and maybe it had to do with the projections thing, and maybe it's to do.
I know. I hope I did. Did I answer that question? I don't know if I answered it or not. To me, I see it in so many fractals.
I know, it is so many fractals. I couldn't even answer the question or ask the question exactly because of all the fractals in it. But I think you did a good job, and I think it was what was needed to be said, which is interesting because taking us into the eclipse on Sunday, the 26th, the eclipse is happening. The eclipse, solar eclipse, new moon, 6:58 a.m. Pacific time. So it says the eclipse is visible in Southwest Africa, Southwest South America, the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Indian Ocean, and Antarctica. So if you happen to be a penguin watching us right now, enjoy the eclipse. Okay. Actually, I was thinking about the other day, I was like, wow, I have clients in every single continent except Antarctica, because the penguins have not found me yet. So I'm 5 years old. But anyways, one of the cards that I have for this eclipse is the card maturity. And it's interesting, this eclipse is happening at 8 degrees. 8 degrees is a degree of maturity. 8 degrees is the degree of Saturn. 8 degrees is that degree of responsibility, which we've talked about much through this week. I'm going to read you the Sabian symbol really quick because this really feeds into the lesson that I have through all the cards. So, Pisces, 8 degrees. A girl blowing a bugle. But why this feeds in is because I have Mercury, open communication. I have from Mary Magdalene, I have the little children card and the acceptance card, and both of these cards are saying like, hey, put yourself out there, be seen, be heard, speak. And then I have Mary Magdalene, by the way, not from the Mary Magdalene deck, funny enough. So she's been coming through loud and clear, but that's what I'm feeling in and through this energy. I've got transformation. I've got maturity. I have control in reverse. I have postponement in reverse, and I have slowing down. Slowing down, I get stop, drop, roll. Are you transforming into your full, integrated, yin-yang self, masculine, feminine, integrated, showing up and blowing your bugle, speaking up, speaking your love, speaking your truth. Pisces energy is the energy of flow. Pisces energy is the energy of integration. Pisces energy is the integration of every single sign up to Pisces. So even though this eclipse is happening in Pisces, this eclipse is happening to all of us, through all of us in this energy. I don't think that it's going to be the eclipse that we're going to be feeling so much, though, as that Mars-Uranus conjunction later in the day. This eclipse is just kind of giving us another download, asking us to speak up as the light. And then that, I feel like that eclipse, or not the eclipse, the Mars-Uranus, I've got this for Mars and Uranus later. That's going to be where it's going to be like the phew. So this to me is going to be more softness. What I think is being asked is the willingness to step up and speak your truth. So the little children, it's basically saying children have no preconceived ideas how they should express themselves. They do it naturally, spontaneously, in any way they can. Let go of your hang-ups. Express yourself freely without judgment. Express all you have stored in your heart. Express yourself in a myriad of ways. Pisces is a very communicative or very creative sign. And then acceptance. And this acceptance card is like, don't try to change yourself. Can you be who you are? Can you bring forth your innocence? This to me is getting past that outwitting energy that we talked about with that energy on Saturday with Mercury and the moon, shifting that energy, shifting out of Mercury or shifting out of Aquarius and into Pisces. You don't have to make it sound eloquent. The heart doesn't always sound eloquent. Sometimes the heart sounds like me right now, bibbity boppity booing these words. Trying so hard to get the words out. You know, it doesn't have to be eloquent. And sometimes we judge ourselves because it's not, but sometimes simple is all that's needed. We are being called to be the girl with the bugle, to speak our heart, to speak our love. I've got Mary Magdalene for this eclipse. Unconditional love. Love yourself, others, in every situation, no matter what the outward appearance may be. I love the quote. Love what shows up. I think Nikki's story about the angels, viewing with no judgment, this shriveled being that comes and then shifts into this angel. Can you love what shows up? Can you love it as it is a part of the whole? Can you love it as it integrates into the whole? And then can you express the love that you have? Mercury, open communication. Get the weight off your chest. There again, it's the chest energy. Speak up with love and be heard. Oh my God. It's all over in this energy. This willingness to speak your love. The willingness to be love. That's what I think this eclipse is downloading in us. The last eclipse was all love. And I said between these two eclipses, it really felt like Jesus. This to me feels like that divine energy taking another level down or another level in. And maybe instead of Jesus, we talked about this beforehand, maybe instead of Jesus, now it's like, here it is, Magdalene. The first eclipse was Jesus. Here we go. Here it is. Ding, ding, ding. The first eclipse was Jesus. And here we have Magdalene, the divine union, the hieroscomos, the sacred marriage of the two. They're not, how do I say this?
He came to me and said it. He said that she's his, it's a pure thing, that she shouldn't be bowing to him, that they bow together.
Yes. They're divine counterpoints. They are, well, what I feel is like them together is that integration. It's the integration of the yin and the yang. It's the complete integration. I don't want to say they're not whole without the other because it's not that way. I wish there was a word of something that's in completion that this next level is even more completion, because that's what
Vesica Pisces.
That's exact. Oh, you mean this right here?
Vesica Pisces. That's what it is. And we're doing the solar eclipse in Pisces. It's a Vesica Pisces. So, it's a wholeness and a wholeness, and then they create the third space.
Oh my God, that's what's on the back of this card too.
Vesica Pisces.
All right. Oh, and there's our So this is what this eclipse is about. Bringing in the feminine. Expressing from that feminine. Allowing her to come up more in and through you. She's emerging. The divine feminine is emerging. Can you allow it? Can you allow the bugle to be blown? So funny.
I'm going dirty now.
Okay. No, I didn't mean to.
Well, what's the balance of that, right? Like, there's an actual position of that, you know? Okay.
Yeah. I'm done. You can take this.
All right, I'll go. All right. So on piggybacking on that, so I have in the middle here, look at this. This is the fire energy of this, but I have the sharing card and I have the creator in reverse, but they're yin yang. Okay. So that's kind of where we're going. Anyways, no. And you know, these are the fire, these are the passion. So it's like, it is kind of that connection in that way. And if you think of that position, I know I'm kind of going dirty here, but if you think of that position, that is the yin yang. So it is the giving and receiving at the exact same time. So I know, yeah, we're going sexual, but hey, whatever, that's where they're telling me. But if you really think of that, if you look at the fish in the Pisces, that's what they're doing. So here's that energy. I'm getting that yin yang. And that, so Christ, I had this kind of it's kind of a dream and kind of a meditation. It was like, you know, when you're about to fall asleep and you're in that kind of between world, I had the energy of the Christ come to me, and I was in the Magdalene energy, and when he walked into the door, he was activating things in me. I was like, oh, you're activating things. It's too intense. And he looked at me and said, you are not taking responsibility. You're activating me at the exact same time. And I went to bow to him, and he grabs me by the arms and he says, no, we kneel together. And it wasn't me as Nikki. You know, it's different than that. It's not a personality. It was the energy of the Magdalene. And what they're trying to say is the divine masculine is not seeing the woman as lower. The divine masculine is seeing the woman as the equal. And that because we've been suppressed on this planet as the feminine for so long, is we think that we are holding a vibration of less than. And as women, as the feminine needs to see themselves as that equal energy. So this is, I love the Vesica Pisces, and you guys need to look that up. It's called Vesica Pisces. It's a hole in a hole, and then we make a third space. This is where, right here in the middle, is where the creation happens. One person is whole, the other person is whole, and then we create a third space for something new to be created. So that's why I want you guys to look that up. Do your own research on the Vesica Pisces, even draw it, if you will, and see what you want to create as your feminine and your masculine energy come online together. That's also dealing with other people, your friends. Me and Mimi can have these conversations, and I can get to places that I couldn't get to on my own because I have access to her wholeness and she has access to mine, right? So you could do this with friendships, with lovers, with any relationships in your life. And we have to learn how to have relationship as the Vesica Pisces. And we have the Pisces. So this is learning not to compare ourselves with others, but to stay in our own wholeness. The bamboo does not compare itself to the oak tree. It can't. It has different purposes. So if we are stuck in a comparison mode, what happens is we're compromising ourselves. And so these are the two energies that are being ripped apart right now. Where do we compromise, and where do we compare? Where can we stay in our wholeness and relate? Where do we not have to change that other person to be more like us for our opinion to be validated? Where we feel so grounded in who we are that we trust our own roots, we trust our own truth, and we trust our own spark, our own divinity, and our own flavor, our own color, and our own essence. And we allow others to have that same ability to know themselves, to know their essence, their flavor. And even though it might be different than yours, doesn't make it any right. Just like I'm going back to the 6 and the 9. I love that meme where it shows one person on one side of the 6, 9, and the other person on the other side of the 6 and 9, and they're both arguing which one's right. The funny thing is we know they both are right? So that is the energy, is when you start realizing that you are your vibration, that you don't have to be validated in your rightness or your wrongness, and you just allow yourself to be yourself. That's when we can share ourselves, share our wisdom, our journey, our experiences, right, with the other people, without being right or wrong, and allowing them to take the seed that they need from that expression that you're giving. And by the way, I know I'm going to piggyback what Mimi said. It's like, you know, the bippity boppity boo that's coming out of my mouth. It's like, just so you know, we all, like, I find myself to be a very good communicator. It's what I came on the planet to do. But there are times, even today, I judged the crap out of myself after my daily guidance because it didn't come out as fluid as I prefer. And then I have all these other people saying, you hit it right on. And I'm like, to me, I still judge myself for my bippity boppity boo-ness. It doesn't have to look perfect. As long as the essence of the message comes out of you, it's exactly what we need to be. So here's a couple of things. We are still shifting and we're birthing ourselves. So this, again, this is going to be a contraction. This is going to be a birthing process for you. We're shifting. Be patient with yourself. And I also have the Golden Palace in reverse. I like what this card says because it's kind of relevant to what I'm going through. So I'm just going to read a little bit of it. Let go of your tight hold on what you believe security looks like. This is my lesson, so I'm almost talking to myself. But that's that miser card that I had in the beginning here. Now is the time to conserve your energy and counter blessings. Resist the pull to become miserly. There's a miser card. There will be enough money, love, youth, food, and shelter to go around. You do not have to compare. You do not have to compromise. a mindset of fear will and lack will shut down the flow of your true abundance. Trust in the tide, because the flow always returns from the ebb, right? Ebb and flow. Okay. And there's Piscean energy as well. Chop wood, carry water, as the Chinese proverb says. Practice faith. Here we go about faith again. Practice faith and treasures will be revealed. In fact, you'll find it in plain sight. So guys, this is a new level of faith. This is a new level of not compromising yourself, not trying to take what somebody else has. That's their story. Leave them alone. Stay right here. Be in your own story. Find the awakening of your voice, of your light, of your message, of your piece of your wholeness, your Vesica Pisces. So then when somebody comes, then you can appreciate them, and it becomes a namaste, not gimme, right? Namaste. We bow to each other instead of trying to tear people down. It's a different way of doing it. Coming from a place of not lack, but a place of self-love, a place of self-worth, and knowing that because they have something that you can't, they add flavor to you instead of take away. When you come together, they add. It doesn't make you any less pretty or shiny. We add to each other, not dim each other.
Absolutely. 100% agreed. You know what I realized as you were talking about all this, that this is happening at 8 degrees, which are those two circles.
Hey, oh my, yes. Do we see where this is going? Guys, and that 8, I mean, and it's infinite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So really cool energy. And while you were doing that, I was like, wow, you know, next we have this interesting aspect on Sunday later in the day. It's actually going to reach its peak at 4:19 p.m. Pacific time. So Mars and Uranus are going to be conjunct. They're going to be conjunct at 22 degrees. There's that master level energy again, mastering the self. It's Uranus energy. 22 is a 4. 4 is Uranus. So it's like, whoa, Uranus, this is an Aries. This is a crazy thing. However, I was like, I should just look up the Sabian symbol, because the Sabian symbol is so interesting. So I'm just going to do it. Holy crap. I got chills when I read it. So for 22 degrees Aries, the gate to the garden of all fulfilled desires. I was like, holy crap. Like, it's like
they're coming up again.
What do you have?
I have a lot of coming apart energy in this.
Oh, coming apart, and coming together. It's all happening. But anyways, the gate to the garden of all fulfilled desires. So for this energy, my other Danielle Laporte card that jumped out. Pressure creates diamonds. Okay, we've got to remember this. Uranus meets Aries. Aries is passionate. Aries can be instigated into anger very easily. Uranus is electric. Uranus is lightning that can light that fire. 22 degrees is self-mastery, but it has that Uranus energy, which can instigate. Now, I have the breakthrough card. Nicole thought there would be somewhere in here. So I have the breakthrough card with this energy. But the breakthrough comes, I can hear myself tickling. Breakthrough comes when you are taking off the mask. Taking off the mask, taking off the projections, getting into that energy of the Garden of Eden, moving into that energy of the Vesica Pisces, moving into the energy of your personal wholeness, not taking out the pressure that's coming in with this energy on anybody else. So let me just say, so we have the Mars conjunct Uranus on Sunday. The next day, next Monday, which we'll probably record the next GPS then, we are going to have Mars opposite Jupiter. Jupiter is at 22. So it's not just this, you know, firework display happening here. There's kind of a tug of war going on. And then later in the week on Thursday, we're going to have that Uranus-Jupiter opposition happening. So this is going to be ongoing, this push and pull, the I, the we, this energy. But this is what's going to instigate it. Mars is instigating this energy. 22, that's where we had that first eclipse. Can you be a master of yourself? Can you be a master and come from the heart? Now it's interesting because with the eclipse earlier in the day, the Pisces eclipse, it's like, speak your truth, the bugle, blah, blah, blah. Well, now I've got siege, quiet time. I've got Master Buddha, increased awareness, but it's like deep connection within, trust your inner voice. You know, the breakthrough is happening, but the breakthrough is happening within. So I've also got nothingness. So it's like, hey, here comes the information. I almost feel like that eclipse, the first eclipse was like, here, the stuff is coming in. You're going to want to, you know, shout it from the rooftops. But I'm kind of getting with this energy, like this may be really when you're trying to shout it from the rooftops, you want to be like a traveling politician going from door to door on soapboxes. This may not be the time. You may need some of this integration within yourself before you're ready to shout your message from the rooftops. What I'm getting even more so with both of these, with that eclipse and with this, is you have the most impact when you walk your talk. So make sure with these lessons that are coming in that you're fulfilling the possibility of this. The nothingness card, this is infinite possibilities. Don't just give the Buddha speak, be the Buddha. And if you can't, then it's quiet time. It's quiet time to integrate this energy. What I've also got from the Magdalene Oracle is God. So be the universe. You don't have to, I feel like many are going to be really compelled to act. And my feeling, this goes back into what we were saying earlier, that how you are compelled to act with this energy may be more of a reaction than the responsibility that you really want to be in at this time. Because I guarantee if you are reacting, there's going to be way more super duper reactionary actions happening out there from others who don't have the personal responsibility that you do, who do not have the consciousness that you do, who have not gotten in touch with these downloads of Christ consciousness and Magdalene consciousness coming in with these energies. And you also may be getting that reaction. If you are called to speak, you may be getting a reaction from that. Don't take that personally if that happens. You know, speak your truth, honor your truth regardless of that, but just watch. Am I reacting or am I responding? Because that has been a really important lesson for me as of late from past life stuff. And, you know, I think that's where God comes in. God, universe. God isn't reactionary. He is in the Bible. You bad humans, you shall have rain and float away until the rainbow comes out. But God's not really, that's not God as I know God, as I've ever experienced God. That's just the God that I was taught once upon a time. But God is the all that is. God is love. Can you be love? Can you be that integrated energy? Here it is. Here we have all three circles. They've all come in to one, into the all that is. And this is where we're working on building into. This is the true breakthrough. Hopefully this is making sense. But this is the true breakthrough that we're moving into. So watch the reactions and watch them ongoing through next week and keep integrating those lessons. That's where the true breakthrough is going to be. That's where the pressure is creating the diamonds in allowing those lessons from the eclipses to integrate and come through, and then moving from that whole place of yourself. Okay, I think that's good. Your turn. Makes sense. Makes sense of the work.
I'm gonna let, because you're gonna have to close it because I have to go. It's 6:30, so I gotta cook before Kali. But so I'm just gonna do it and then I'm gonna run. So this is a very interesting energy for me because I'm getting this. So I have this kind of buildup. So there's like this stress buildup that's happening. And as the stress or all this stuff, people are feeling this anxiety, feeling all of this. So after you have this eclipse energy, you might get, because it's in Pisces, it's a Piscean energy, it's like really esoteric, it's really watery. Then we have that Aries energy. This is the anchor I was talking about. That's the intensity. This is that, like, blowing a bubble or blowing a balloon so big that if you keep blowing it, it's going to pop. But it's not being scared of the pop is what I'm getting. It's like as it pops, it almost looks like that God card that Mimi has. It looks like as the bubble popped, talk, Mimi, so they could see it.
Yeah, God, here you go.
So it looks like pop, and then all these little spirals of God comes out, right? So all these little spirals are going to come out. So as God pops your bubble, we have the Tower card. Things will break apart, coming apart again. So things will break apart. Don't freak out. It's all God. Really, it's not here to torment you. It's not here to punish you. Things are coming apart. Things are popping because they need to. One of my big things when I was 20 something in 2007, God came in and popped my bubble. Woo! And it shattered me. And I ended up going to India. I broke my relationship off with my now husband. We were together for 3 years and we broke up. And it was a mess, and I was a mess, and there was debris everywhere. But what happened was I was holding on to such a victim identity at that point in my life that if God didn't come and burst my paradigm, burst my bubble, make me take responsibility for myself, make me realize that I was creating a lot of the trauma that I was discovering or manifesting in my life, it wouldn't have made me the woman that I'm sitting here talking to you. Sometimes God has to come in and burst our bubble for us to really see who we are. We have to come out of that conditioned behavior. Sometimes we're so identified with our conditioning that God has to come in and it's saying, I'm sorry you have to go through the pain. I'm not putting you through the pain because I want you to experience pain. You're already in pain. I'm just showing you and popping it and giving you a little room. And this is old and deep and past life, and like this is an old paradigm that it's like it all has come to the head to this moment for this to be popped for you so you can actually find that new beginning. So all endings that you might find during this eclipse and during this Aries energy and this monkey popping your bubble is all because you're trying to look for that new beginning. So an end and a new beginning will happen at the exact same moment, and you will be in that zero place, the Fool card. There's that zero place. You will be in the new beginning. You will be at the horizon where the sun will set, or is the sun setting or is the sun rising? I don't know, because because of the horizon. We don't know if the sun will set or the sun will rise, and it is both at the same time. So things will end and begin at the exact same moment at this point, and it's at 22 degrees. It is the master. There will be great change that happens, and you will be thrown into the unknown. This is a place that you in your past lives have never been in before. This is so new to you that you get to choose the new person that you decide to be in this energy. And don't be afraid of the coming apart. It's the unraveling of the ego. It's the unraveling of the old self that doesn't serve you. So you can find that divine spark that lives within you and live from that. Live from the divinity that is looking to be birthed and seeded on this planet again. Because a long time ago, we had a fall from grace. They talk about it in the Bible, but we don't really understand what that meant. We had a fall of consciousness, and now it's time to reclaim the consciousness that we all crave and desire to have. And to do that, the old system has to break apart. So don't be afraid of the coming apart. Okay.
Perfect. I love it.
I'm out of here. I got to go cook.
I love you. All right. So I'm going to finish up. You can find us, Gaia Blooming. Nikki posts her things on the Gaia Blooming Facebook page every day, so check out her guidance. I post my daily astrology on Gaia Blooming as well. Let's see, we still have our sale going. If you want a reading with the both of us, if you want your personal GPS, you can get that. That's at GaiaBlooming.com. On the services page, I think it's on the pop-up on the front page too. If you just go to GaiaBlooming.com and give it just a second, a little pop-up comes up and you can get it there. And that's not going to be around too much longer, but we're leaving it up at least through the eclipse. And, good luck. Reach out. I love what she said, how she and I are both, we bring each other's consciousness to each other. It's a thing with your good friends, you know, that can support you through whatever you're moving through. It's like it is the coming together of two wholes, and there is so much power. So, you know, rally around with that this week to support you. We're all moving through this. We're all ascending in our own way. It's intense. There's Mama Gaia ascending with us, you know, the Schumann resonance thing, that energy raising up. So we're all moving through this in one way or another. So be kind to one another, because all of us are fighting some kind of battle, or maybe not fighting. I don't necessarily love that word, but all of us are processing some kind of energy of one kind or another at this time. So that's it for us. Thank you for joining us, and we will hopefully see you next week. Namaste.